Welcome to Solutions Studio. This is a free series on C programming language. If you like these videos, please subscribe to follow along with this series. Also, please like and leave a comment and share the video to help spread this series. Hello and welcome to this episode, and in this episode we discuss some more manipulations of a two-dimensional array, and specifically we want to find the minimum and the maximum values of elements of a two-dimensional array. So in here, as you can see, that we have an array. This array is containing some grades of some students. The number of students is defined here in the row, and the number of exams are defined here in the columns. So we have 3 students and 4 exams, and that's why you can see that there is 3 rows and 4 columns. Then using the print array function, we are going to print this array. And finally, after printing the array, we will print the lowest grade using the minimum function and the highest grade using the maximum function. Now, the most important 2 functions in this episode for us is the minimum and the maximum functions, and how do they work. So the minimum function will take the array as an argument. You can see that we usually leave the first subscript blank and we provide the second subscript because that is mandatory. And we also pass the value of students and also the value of exams, though the name of these 2 parameters are different here in the definition of this function. So initially we have defined a variable called low grade, and it's assuming that the lowest grade that we have is 100. And if it finds any other grade that is lower than 100, it will store that as a low grade. Now let's see how this for loop works. This for loop will go to each row and as many rows as we have students, and it will go to each column and as many columns as we have exams or tests. And for each row and column and the element for that row and column, it will compare the value of that element to the low grade. And if it sees that value is less than low grade, then it stores that value inside the low grade. And finally, it will return the low grade as the lowest grade that we might have in this array. And basically the maximum works the same way. It has a high grade. Initially we assume the highest grade is a 0. We will go through each row and column and compare the elements of each row and column to the high grade. If we find any value that is greater than the high grade, then we set the value of that element into the high grade, and we finally return the high grade, and that is the highest grade among the elements of an array. And finally, we have a function that will print the array that we have used here before the calculations of the minimum and maximum. Now let's go and execute this program. Now you can see that the array is printed in here. The lowest grade that we have is 68 and the highest grade that we have is 96. And that's it for this episode. I hope this has been informative for you, and I would like to see you in the coming episodes. Stay tuned.